I'm going through a lot of loss and grieving.
You think she was petty? Try being the hallway to 13 kids you didn't give birth to.
It was our way of saying, hey, we're one big family.
By season 16, it's honestly hard not to be disgusted with every single person in this family at different times for different reasons.
Wanting me to have the piece of property by the pond.
I just worried that...
And then we get to the infamous pond debacle. The great battleground? Not respect, not communication, just access to a murky, disease-prone body of water.
So in Lehigh, we had this situation where Christine was downstairs and Meri was upstairs.
That's where Janelle decides to drag up Meri's so-called crime, not wanting her house to be used as a shortcut.
And I'm like, okay, so people are going through my house and what's happening. And
apparently back in the day, Meri had the audacity to say she didn't appreciate being the hallway between apartments. Not when she was out, not when she and Cody were together, and certainly not when a dozen kids were stampeding through like it was Chuck E. Cheese. Let's be clear, Meri's no saint. She's made baffling choices. But on this, she wasn't wrong.
Yeah, and I appreciate understanding that it might have been a privacy thing, or it might have been, but it always felt sort of like a control thing.
13 kids, shared walls, 0 boundaries, and somehow she's the villain for wanting a little privacy? Wanting to avoid muddy footprints and chaos in her space makes her difficult? Janelle's counter-argument? She slipped down the back stairs multiple times. So obviously, Meri's desire for peace is a moral failure. Never mind that the layout wasn't Meri's idea.
The real problem is plural marriage requires that you behave like a saint.
Never mind that they set no clear rules on how this living situation was actually supposed to work. They wanted one big family only when it meant receiving help or benefits from another wife. The second they had to give something, suddenly it was separate households. The hypocrisy wasn't subtle, it was the foundation.
Great, because we bought property and didn't do anything.
I don't think Cody Brown's capable of doing. He just talks a lot.
And Cody? Nowhere. Always in the background, except when stirring the pot. He sold these women a spiritual fantasy while refusing to manage the practical reality. No conversations about logistics, no structure, no accountability, just vibes. And Logan waking up at 5 a.m. to make breakfast like a live-in butler. Christine was homeschooling.
You know, I've worked for a lot of years, and I've always worked full-time.
Janelle had a job, but who exactly was parenting at dawn? Where was Meri? Probably sleeping in, just like everyone else. And Cody? Allegedly off to some business meeting, or more likely, cruising to another imaginary gun show. The failure wasn't Meri wanting boundaries. The failure was the lack of a plan. If Meri had let that go, her house would have become Grand Central Station. Constant foot traffic, noise, mess. And when the kids weren't being reined in, let's face it, they weren't, her home would have been wrecked. Not by accident, by design. And yes, it's complicated. Christine and Janelle had reasons for their frustration too, but again, the house layout was not Meri's fault. The parenting gaps weren't Meri's fault. And Cody's refusal to step in with leadership, solutions, or even basic handyman effort? Definitely not Meri's fault.
This is just so unexpected and so quick.
She was expected to be the emotionally stable one, the gracious one. Her boundary wasn't cruelty, it was survival. And the fact that it became a symbol of her selfishness says more about the dysfunction around her than anything else. What if Christine isn't the hero of this story? Christine. Oh, Christine. Let's skip the niceties and get to it. She might have left the curls in the cul-de-sac, but she definitely kept a few tricks from the Brown family playbook.
I'm jealous because they're behaving the way they should have for 25 years now.
Specifically, the accountability, never heard of her chapter. Anytime Christine appears to take responsibility, it's followed by the classic but maneuver, a textbook deflection. Yes, I was jealous, but it was someone else's fault. Sound familiar? It should. It's the same routine we've seen from certain other experts in emotional blame shifting.
Don't you dare point your finger at me.
I've been here, day long, in and out.
Now, let's be clear. None of the adults are innocent. This whole saga is one giant group project where everyone failed. But Christine's evolution lately has felt more like a spin-off series titled How to Look Empowered While Still Blaming Everyone Else.
Christine has to destroy my character, or David doesn't feel like he can marry her because she left a good man.
The moment she laughed and told that ring story, that was the turning point. It wasn't her story to tell, and it reeked of performative shade. The real kicker is how skilled this entire crew is at avoiding accountability. Not in loud, chaotic ways, but in the quiet, believable kind. The kind where you almost forget it's happening.
Because
No,
I had so much unwound for me, how much I thought we were like, I'm sitting there, this smiling idiot.
It's like a masterclass in denial dressed up as emotional honesty. If anyone ever turned this into a case study, the thesis would be simple. They believe their own version of reality, so it doesn't feel like lying. And when the children eventually decide to speak their truth, the full picture will be clear. Because here's the hard truth. Every adult in this family played a part in distorting what healthy relationships should look like.
I don't want to live together again.
The fact that the next generation has shown zero interest in repeating this lifestyle says everything that needs to be said.
Why are you laughing?
Sorry. I mean, for years I've been jealous. It's plural marriage, for goodness sakes.
That said, Christine has acknowledged jealousy, repeatedly even. And given the context, it's understandable. After giving birth to 5 living children, enduring multiple miscarriages, and being pregnant for the 12th time when she was pushed aside for someone younger and shinier, anger was more than justified.
Why aren't you connecting with my daughters like you are my son?
Her daughters were sidelined, her marriage ignored, and she still tried to hold it all together. She took emotional blows from every direction, being dismissed, mocked, gaslit, and still made concessions for the sake of her kids.
I've been on a few dates, met some really nice guys, but nothing emotionally attaching. It's just fun.
So yes, she deflects sometimes. Yes, she spins. But compared to the circus around her, she's practically the ringmaster of restraint. Not perfect, not blameless, just someone clawing her way out of a mess she didn't make alone, and maybe learning how to own it in real time. Meri's divorce wasn't a sacrifice. It was a setup.
We're here to see Ron.
We want this legal marriage to not matter. All of us do.
The episode where Meri goes to meet with Ron about divorcing Cody, there's a detail that completely undercuts the entire narrative. Meri didn't need to divorce Cody for him to adopt Robin's kids.
Tana just let us know that Robin's ex is in Sasha's office discussing.
Even Ron points out that there was a legal route that didn't involve Meri stepping aside. Cody could have adopted the kids as long as the biological father terminated his rights and the kids confirmed their consent in court.
As if the judge would have some sort of problem with a
Plural family, right?
a plural family. Yeah.
But here's where it gets conveniently selective. The idea of those tender-age children being asked to testify, even in the most minimal way, clearly wasn't something Robin was going to allow. Because if there was any chance the kids might say something that didn't align with her plan, or if they'd have to even admit to having an opinion, that would have blown up the whole operation. So instead of pursuing the path that kept Meri legally married, the family suddenly had a brilliant idea. Meri would divorce Cody. Not because it was necessary, but because it was more convenient for Robin.
I have an appointment with a lawyer that I'm heading out to right now.
Let's be honest, this wasn't Meri's idea. This had all the markings of Cody's emotional bargaining at work. It's very likely this was one of the conditions he floated as a step toward healing their relationship. Except the only one who benefited long-term was Robin.
If he doesn't sign, he actually will have a court order that's there forever.
The core purpose of the adoption was to strip David Jessup of all parental rights. No custody battles, no visitation challenges, no say in anything. And legally, that still could have been done without Meri sacrificing her marriage status, as long as she agreed to it.
Divorce, so that Rob and I could get a legal marriage, so that we just figured this would make it easier to adopt the kids.
Which means the divorce wasn't about legal necessity. It was about control, optics, and preserving Robin's carefully curated version of family. Robin has said on camera that every wife should have a legal marriage certificate to protect herself in case of divorce. That's a convenient philosophy, especially when you assume you'll be the only wife left standing. This wasn't parenting. It was emotional sabotage broadcast for the world to see.
And Meri is coming over to Robin's house to have Thanksgiving with Robin and our kids. The weirdest thing is Christine and Janelle are both in Utah.
Ah, yes, the Thanksgiving meltdown, starring Robin Brown and her pandemic-powered guilt trip. Instead of simply telling her children, the family can't gather this year because of COVID, Robin delivers a dramatic, detail-packed tale of betrayal.
Basically, Janelle said that her household they're not able to follow those rules.
She lays out the rules, not just hers, but the rules, and then slowly twists the knife. Janelle and Christine won't be joining because their families are not following protocol. Why? Well, she's not sure if they can't or won't. And just to spice things up, she throws in that Gabe has a girlfriend and, brace for impact, a social life. Scandalous.
I'm just worried about how it's going to make them feel. If it's going to start making them be bitter and stop.
But the point isn't to inform, it's to wound. Every word is chosen to make her kids feel left out, unwanted, and discarded. Rather than shielding them from grown-up family dynamics, Robin invites them into a guilt-laced narrative where they are the ones being wronged.
It would just be nice to see them and spend time together as a family for Thanksgiving.
This wasn't a parenting moment. It was a performance. A calculated delivery of emotional pain disguised as concern. And the impact shows. Her children have absorbed a worldview built on rejection, exclusion, and the idea that they are always the victims. What could have been a simple, age-appropriate explanation became an exercise in emotional manipulation. The message was loud and clear. They're not coming, and it's because of us.
I think after we moved to Flagstaff, all of us were seeing fractures.
Robin's pattern is consistent. Pain and alienation, especially for her own children, framed as love and protection. The family fractures, the isolation grows, and the narrative always centers around her.
I'm going through a lot of mourning, loss and grieving of the relationships.
The result? Severed ties with both biological and extended family members, and 5 children raised under the weight of constant emotional warfare. And if this is the version presented for the cameras, one can only imagine how much sharper the script is in private. Don't be fooled by the Earth Mother Act. Robin's playbook is all about control.
But then the other moms, Christine and Meri, both wanted to have theirs at home.
5 of my kids were born at home.
Can someone explain why Robin acts like the undisputed queen of home births, as if she's discovered some ancient superior method and the other wives are just uninformed amateurs? When she was giving birth to Solomon, it really seemed like she was taking a subtle jab at Christine for going to the hospital and using an epidural.
It's the same as the nanny, right? You have a nanny over.
Robin and I have,
The irony? Robin loves to present herself as this natural, self-sacrificing Earth Mother, yet she has a full-time nanny despite being a stay-at-home mom, with a stay-at-home dad right there beside her. The math isn't mathing.
The second 2-acre lot is Cody and Robin. The third is a 4-acre lot, and it's Meri, myself, and Cody. And then the 5-acre lot, because Christine quit-claimed it, is Cody and Robin.
It's a pattern. Robin builds herself up by quietly undercutting others. If she still believes in polygamy, it seems more about maintaining control and status, surrounded by co-wives in survival mode while she guards the comforts like a glittery gatekeeper of doing it right.
Having a midwife, an experienced midwife, is absolutely phenomenally important and necessary.
And yes, every woman should choose her own birth plan. But let's not ignore the influence of the fear-based teachings she grew up with. Her insistence on home birth feels less like personal empowerment and more like doctrinal anxiety dressed in a handmade maternity dress. Robin didn't just launch a bad business. She weaponized it. Season 12, Episode 1.
I'm working really hard for my sister's closet.
Robin launches a jewelry business, objectively unappealing and structurally flawed, and yet every adult in the family is expected to contribute time, money, and emotional labor to keep it afloat.
My dream is to go back to school and to get this degree.
So much so that Meri considering going back to school is treated as a betrayal because it would interfere with Robin's dream. In contrast, when Meri expresses long-standing interest in buying and running her family's bed and breakfast, a business with actual potential,
Don't buy that house yet. Let's buy the lot across from it.
Cody reacts with confusion and opposition. Suddenly, personal ambition becomes a threat, not a priority.
At one point, Robin tells Cody that if he doesn't secure full participation from the other wives in her business, she won't have time to have another child. The implication is clear. The family's resources must be redirected toward a failing project to preserve Robin's narrative of sacrifice and importance.
You're saying that the business is not viable when I don't feel like that you're invested in it.
The jewelry line itself was never commercially viable. The logo resembled anatomical mishaps. The designs were visually jarring. Sterling silver necklaces priced at $150 featuring hearts gripped by elongated hands that could have belonged to a witch, demon, or horror film entity. Yet it was positioned as a luxury brand, without any professional design consultation, focus groups, or business planning.
We have to sell 120 pieces to make it valuable, but
Despite limited product variety, weak branding, and high pricing, early failures were dismissed. Only 8 items sold at a 2-day convention, staffed by 5 adults. Website traffic was cited as proof of demand, but conversion remained abysmal, roughly 175 pieces sold over 18 months. This was attributed not to poor product market fit, but to a lack of family investment and insufficient labor.
I'm fine with Meri moving her business to Parowan. I don't think she's got a fulfilling life here in Flagstaff.
The business did not fail because it lacked support. It failed because it lacked value. Redirecting time and energy from more promising ventures like Meri's B&B to protect Robin's ego only further exposed the imbalance. The underlying issue wasn't strategy or effort. It was that a successful independent business owned by someone else didn't serve the family's internal hierarchy. Robin wasn't shopping. She was working, allegedly.
My sister's closet is an online store that
When Robin said she was working at the time Cody got the call about Garrison, the natural reaction was confusion. Working where exactly, and at what?
I thought I would tell her in a creative way with dolls.
One theory, Robin's job is writing fake Etsy reviews. Yes, imagine her not spending $60,000 on dolls and accessories at all, but instead being hired to boost the seller's profile with glowing, suspiciously emotional testimonials like, "This Victorian toddler changed my life," or "Best resin-based spiritual companion I've ever owned." It's unclear if that kind of review hustle even works on Etsy. Some platforms only allow verified buyers to leave feedback. But maybe in Robin's case, reality bends for the greater cause of retail theater.
I have a little more flexibility with my schedule, but I'm bonkers.
Of course, Robin has always had a unique relationship with the concept of work. Historically, working has meant putting on a blazer and sitting in front of a camera looking vaguely burdened, PowerPoint not included.
But before that, Nathan wants to show me his gun collection, so I'm going over to his house to check this out.
She's also vaguely alluded to helping Cody with gun accessory sales, because nothing says family values like hawking tactical gear between confessionals.
Aurora has been having panic attacks, and
if none of that checks out, maybe she was just busy scripting her next emotional subplot, Aurora's audition. Can anxiety handle the spotlight? Written, directed, and emotionally supervised by Robin herself. Subscribe now. Trust me, it only gets wilder.